Hey guys, so it's here bringing you another video for today. Now today's video we're going to be covering how to improve in League of Legends. Like how do you actually get better, how do you learn, etc. But this is an episode of League Discussion, so it is the series that I take a topic, which is that today, break it down with my own opinions and experiences, encourage you guys to join in the conversation in the comments section below. So yeah, if you've got any stories, if you've got any advice for others, feel free to share it. That's what this series is all about. Now, the footage you're seeing on the screen right now as well is of a Gangplank game that I played yesterday on my main account. And one thing to mention is, yes, my main account is now called Huzzy. It's never been called Huzzy before. The reason for it was taken. Even 6 years ago, the name Huzzy was taken. So I managed to get it because the person who had Huzzy has been inactive for 2 years, so then I could finally rename my account to my actual name. So I was pretty excited about that. Anyway, let's get into the topic of how to improve. So the reason for doing this topic is not just random. You know, yes, people have requested this topic, but it's because I'm actually going through it myself right now. And you may be like, what? The reason for it is, if you don't know anything about me, you're new to the channel, Season 3 is that was the peak of my League of Legends career. So I was Diamond 1 back when there was no Master or anything like that. So I was playing with professionals very regularly. I was holding my own against them, you know, and back then there were some, you know, LCS pros, and I remember playing against Reckless and all these people, Peke. I played against those people and I was holding my own back then. I was a lot better player than I was then than I am now. But, you know, I was fine with maybe my skill deteriorating a bit because of university. You know, that took 3 years of my life, you know, started 3 years ago. And in that time, I couldn't put a lot of time into getting better or improving or keeping up with the professionals or keeping up with like just the really good players of League. So my skill probably stayed the same where everybody else's skill got better. So 3 years later, where we are right now, it's made me a Diamond 2/Diamond 3 player when I'd call it like I'm casually playing ranked. I'm not playing it hardcore like I used to. But me, as a casual ranked player right now, is Diamond 2/Diamond 3, depending how well I'm playing. If I'm playing well, I'll go into Diamond 2. Right now, I'm in Diamond 3, around 70 LPs. So I'm around that level right now. But now that I've finished university, I'm not happy with that. You know, I'm like, right, I've got all this spare time. I want to improve at the game. I want to get higher rated. Let's go. So the past week, I've gone into some games of League of Legends, and I'm playing okay. You know, I'm holding my own. But I'm not really, in a weird way, playing better than the people that are in the game. And that's what you have to do if you want to go up in rating. You have to be playing better than everybody around you. And yes, I've had the odd game, like the Gangplank game you're seeing right now, that I do extremely well. But that's not consistent. If you want to go up in rating, you have to be consistently playing better than the people around you. So that leads to the question, how do you get better? Because, you know, back when in Season 2, when I was a silver player, I must have done a lot of stuff from going Silver 2 in Season... in Season 2 to Diamond 1 in Season 3. I must have done a hell of a lot of improvement, and I kind of need to retrace them steps. So this video is just going to be giving you some advice in regards to that. So the first thing, the biggest thing that I would actually honestly say is take note of your own mistakes. Well, it goes without saying, but yeah, never blame teammates or what rating you are. It's the oldest excuse in the book, but it's pretty much the lamest excuse in the book. If everybody had teammates that were holding them back, nobody would be high rated. So that excuse is thrown out the window straight away. It's up to you to carry yourself up. So basically, you've got to notify yourself or be aware of what big mistakes you make. So right now, as myself as a player, I struggle with last hitting in the early game. I don't know why. I used to be very good at it, but it's something that I have noted, and you know, you've seen in Unranked to Diamond, so I know that. So I'm going to take, especially like just my thought process is going to go towards that mistake, to try and fix that mistake. And that's what you've got to do. If your mistake is mispositioning, you die too easy, you base at weird times, just jot down. It could be on your desktop, it could be on a sticky note, it could be, you could write it down. Just keep note of your mistakes. And I've seen many people even have a massive spreadsheet that they actually record every single game of rank they play, and they go, right, these are my mistakes that I commonly make. Did I make them this game? And, you know, at the start you may, yes, I made it, yes, I made it, yes, I made it. But then very slowly you may stop making that mistake because you're more aware of it. Thus you are improving. That's a good way, you know. Like, mistakes is kind of why people in this game aren't very good. And, you know, every single person, let's just get the myth out the window, every single person in this game makes mistakes, even Faker makes mistakes, but it's just less likely to happen. But there's also another counter to this, so in Bronze, a lot of mistakes happen every single game, but because the opponents are also Bronze, people don't counter on those mistakes. So it doesn't really matter. You know, mistakes are a little bit more forgiving the lower rating you are, but more mistakes happen. But say in Diamond, sure, less mistakes happen in Diamond, but when someone makes a mistake, it blows out to proportion because their opponent can actually take advantage of that mistake. So mistakes are incredibly important to get higher rated in League of Legends. So that's the first one. Notify your mistakes, and it can be anything. You know, the good way to start, in my opinion, is if you're not the most analytical person, you're not like, right, I know what I'm doing every game, you're not thinking it through, you can't identify your mistakes, then I would suggest just looking at times when you die. Whenever you die in League of Legends, there has most likely been a mistake, unless it was kind of an intentional death in a team fight, going, okay, if I do all this damage and die, at least my team can actually kill them, and that's fine. So, unless it's that type of situation, you've probably made a mistake somewhere, especially in a 1v1. It's again, people rage when they die in 1v1s, but there is no shadow of a doubt, every single time you die in a 1v1, you have made a mistake. Because, you know, in professional play, the reason why casters and all these people blow out when a 1v1 kill happens, because they shouldn't happen. That's the point. Is that the lanes should be relatively even in last hittings, etc. And junglers should make the difference in where the kills come from. That's obviously very high up level, but that's why 1v1 kills mean so much. Anyway, moving on. That's the first point, and it's a pretty good, pretty big first point. Second point is watching content. So this is something that I personally didn't really have access to when I was first improving. You have to remember, I first improved at League of Legends 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. So back then, there weren't many educational YouTubers, there weren't streamers, there weren't any of these people that could actually help you improve. Now, you may ask, who are the best ones to ask? Now, I don't want to say specific people. I'll give a couple of examples, but you want a content creator, and it could be a streamer or a YouTuber that actually teaches you stuff. That isn't just there just saying stuff to the screen. That is actually pointing out mistakes that people could be making in that game. That's why sometimes people say to me, oh God, you criticize people so much. I'm not criticizing, I'm pointing out mistakes, because that is how you improve at League of Legends. And the moment you realize that, then you'll probably go up in rating. But the content creators I suggest, and here's the weird thing, is in a way, like, the most thing I did use with content creators was streams. There weren't YouTubers around back then. I watched Ocelot. Yes, he was a streamer back then. And a guy called Guardsman Bob. I don't think he does LOL anymore. Those are the two main ones that I watched. Both of these people kind of taught what they were doing in game. They weren't being, let's say, entertaining. They were kind of just explaining their thought process to doing certain things. This is why, even though I love them, I'mACutiePie is not the best person to watch if you want to improve at League of Legends. He's brilliant for entertainment, but if you want to improve at the game, he doesn't explain his thought process. Nori does Dyrus. He does it occasionally, and it's amazing when he does it, but he doesn't do it on an often basis. I'd honestly say the person that does it the most is Skarra. Skarra, to me, he explains his thought process very often, which is great. You know, even I learn things when I tune into Skarra because I've watched him for years, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, he explained his thought process. Why did he build that item? Why is he going there? And he does that often. So I would recommend Skarra if you are someone that likes mid lane stuff. He does do a jungle occasionally. He does do the other roles occasionally, but he is mainly mid. And that's who I'd recommend, is that type of content creator, the person that actually explains to you, why is this thing good? Why is he doing that? Instead of just going, you know, I'mACutiePie, I love him, but, you know, boosted animal, joking, donga, like, that won't help you get better. But it's sure, it's really entertaining. Now, the third point to improving at the game is coaching. So again, this was something that really wasn't a thing when I was trying to get better at the game, because for there to be coaches, there need to be experts or veterans at the game that can teach people. And back in Season 2 and Season 3, there weren't veterans of the game only after 3 years of playing. You know, it takes a lot longer for you to actually have crazy amounts of knowledge. Like, even as myself, you know, I'm surprised how much knowledge I have about this game. my friends have quizzed me before. And my friends even quizzed me on when did the champion Ari come out? What number was she? And I was one number off. Like, it's crazy how much knowledge is stored up in your brain when you've played this game for a very long time. And that's what I'd suggest with a coach. If you are going to look for a coach, look for somebody that has played this game for an incredibly long time, but who's also high rated. Now, this may be slightly contradictory. Some people who are maybe coaches watching this video may go, ah, that's mean. But I don't trust a coach who can't prove themselves to be a player first. It's why I like Monte Cristo, but I never take his criticisms when he criticizes pro players fully, because he's never done it himself. The same goes with Thorin. Like, these, when they criticize people, it goes straight over my head, because I'm like, they haven't done it themselves. They don't know what it's like. And in terms of a solo queue coach, I'd say Diamond is minimum. You know, Diamond is a very good rating in this game. Sure, there's Master and Challenger that's better, but Diamond is a rating a lot of people want, it's a lot of people aim for, and a lot of people will be happy with that for the rest of their little career. So look for a coach that I'd say is minimum Diamond, and has played, I'd say, for a minimum of 3 years, but ideally more. Because you need that knowledge. You know, they need to help you in terms of, this is what's good now, but it might change, so you should play this instead because that's been good for years. Like, that's just knowledge that you can't teach. That's knowledge that is earned. But you may ask, what about coaches? So you can go with a friend. Friend's fine. You know, again, if they meet the criteria that I said, then that's great. A lot of friend groups do give each other advice. And I'll say, if you're in the same rating as that guy, if he's only one tier above you, and if he's not Diamond, be very careful with being given advice, because a lot of people mean good when they give advice, but a lot of the time it's wrong. You know, it may work for them, but for other people it won't work. You've got to be very careful with where your advice comes from. And again, I'd say be careful in YouTube comments, even though this is a league discussion and I encourage people to give, advice, etc. Be careful who it's coming from. You know, just be like, hey, are you a good player? You know, should I be listening to you? In your own head, you should be thinking that. There are websites out there that, you know, offer coaching. I've done coaching in the past, and I will say just now, I'm going to be opening up coaching very soon. I'm going to be partnering probably with a website to do it, so I can put specific time slots and people can book it. So that will be happening. If you do want me as a coach, then that will happen soon. But, you know, there are other coaches out there. And I'll say, as a coach itself, when you're in the lesson, you want a coach that is sympathetic but strict. You don't want a coach that is always agreeing with you, because that's a sign of a bad coach. You want somebody that is firm, that is like, no, that's wrong, and they can prove you wrong. You know, the whole point, you know, if a coach just goes, no, that's wrong, and then leaves the point there, you should ask, why is it wrong? Always be asking why when someone is teaching you the game, because if they don't have a valid reason, why are they teaching you? They always should be a valid reason, so always be asking why. But that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. Oh, well, finally, I forgot the massive point. You know, I've got the notes over here. The fourth point is play the game. So this is a very important point. The reason for it is it's probably the biggest point that I dropped off myself. So going from Diamond 1 to probably staying at the same level for 3 years. So everybody else improved and got higher rated when I've gone down to like Diamond 2/Diamond 3. Playing the game is crazy important, and it's something that I have not done properly in roughly 3 years due to obviously university. You improve the most by playing yourself. Even if you're losing, you are still improving. You've just got to take every single game to face value and not kind of get down about the occasional loss. That's why people say to me, you know, do I ever dodge games? Nope, I don't dodge games, because I learn from every single game that I play. That's why I upload losses on YouTube. You know, people go, why do you upload losses? They're boring. That's not the point. It's there to learn. You know, my series, it's sure people get entertainment out of it, but it's more for educational purposes. It's more to make you a better player. Whether that's pointing out mistakes or going, don't do what I do, or it's do what I do. That's what my series is all about. So playing the game is crazy important, and it's something I'm trying to fix right now. You know, over the past 3 years, I maybe played 1 game a day, probably even missed quite a lot of those, when now I'm trying to at least play, and this sounds silly, but at least 2 games of solo queue a day on my main account. That's even not a lot. Back in my peak of Season 3, I was playing probably about 5 a day. So I'm trying to slowly work my way up to a higher number of ranked games per day, and with that will come consistency, will come better playing. And the thing is, when you play with good people, you know, when you play with even just whatever rating you may be, when you start outperforming those people, you'll find that you'll improve even more, because the feeling when you just stomp people in your own rating, not on a Smurf, in your own rating, when you stomp them, the feeling that you get is like, oh damn, I'm getting really good at this game. So do that, you know, play the game, get consistency, and you'll improve probably quite a bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This was the extra video for today. Let me just remind you, we are on the road to 100k right now, so throw a like on the video just to help it out. Share with a friend if you've got any, and subscribe. So I'll see you guys next time. See you.